Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I have since improved the way I do my editing, so I'm here with another edit, another drip cartoon edit, because ever since I've kind of refined the way I work, so I figured, why not come here and provide you guys an update as to what I generally do. So here we go. Right now I'm just choosing a photo. I decided to choose a photo of Kylie. I didn't want to put a real person there or anything, so yeah, I just decided to choose a photo of Kylie. As you can see a few of the photos I did create for some other people though, so those are a few examples of things that I've been doing lately, is like adding more backgrounds and playing with different masks. But for this, what I'm doing right now is I'm creating a cutout. So I want to create a sticker, and so as soon as I upload the photo, obviously I don't want the other corners in there, so I'm creating a cutout of it. Now you can use a little lasso, or you can press the person thing and it'll automatically do it for you. But as you can see, it kind of missed some of her body, so I'm going back and I'm adding the parts that I want in the photo. And don't worry about, like if you have to crop a photo or whatever that you took a screenshot of, don't worry about getting other parts in there, because as you will see, we'll be able to fix those parts. As you can see, there's some parts left there. So what I'm doing right now is I'm saving it. So I click save, download photo. I'm not uploading it anywhere, I'm not sending it to anybody. Then we click done. Of course, it's going to show you that I want you to sign up for a membership, and then I'm going to click the little plus button and we're going to start a new project. So I go all the way down and I select a blank canvas, okay, from the color backgrounds, and I usually choose white. You can choose whatever color you want, but I always choose white. And then we're going to add our photo. Okay, so now you have two options. You can go to add photo, just add it straight from your gallery, or you can go to sticker and actually add it from your cutout that you created. A cutout is essentially a sticker on PixArt, right? So when you create a cutout, it's going to be under your stickers as well. So what I'm doing right now is I'm showing you guys, first of all, the discover part is great for using, but then I also have my recents that I normally use, and then my stickers. These are ones that I've saved, or my cutouts. I haven't purchased any. I usually just either save them from frames that I like that I want to use in the future, or I create my own cutouts of things, whether it's hair or clothes or whatever. You can see that I actually did a cutout on my eye because I wanted to fix my eye in one photo, but that's a different story. So I'm gonna select the cutout that I created of Kylie. So that's what we're doing right now, is creating the cutout. Sorry, not creating the cutout, we're just uploading it on the screen. I'm not gonna press the little arrow as yet because I don't want to apply it. If I apply it, I won't be able to add any effects in what I want to do. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the eraser, which you see me on. I'm using the eraser to actually refine the photo and remove any leftover parts that I don't really want. And usually what I do is I zoom in 900% to remove whatever parts I don't really want. And trust me, with me, it has to be perfect. It has to be nothing else left in there. Otherwise it just doesn't look as good. For me, sometimes it's a little bit tedious because I have to go back in anyway and just remove the same lines that I should have removed from the beginning. So it's why not get rid of it from the beginning to make less work for yourself. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just removing anything I don't want in the photo, and I'm just kind of shaping it. Pet peeve is photos that the head is cut off or the shoulder is cut off. This photo is actually perfect because the shoulder is not really too cut off. I can still use it. So sometimes what I have to do, and I think I showed you guys in another tutorial, is I have to go use a clone tool and actually create a shoulder. Or I have to create a cutout of a hairstyle and create people's top of their head, literally, because it will be cut out like this and it'll look like crap. But luckily with Kylie, this hairstyle was a little bit higher, so I had room to make it look a little less square at the top and cut off. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. I'm just removing any parts that I don't really want. By the way, if you guys hear beeping in the background, that's my phone. It keeps connecting and disconnecting, so I don't know what the hell to do. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing here. I'm going back and forth between the brush and the eraser, and removing parts that I don't need, or adding parts that I accidentally took off that I wanted in there. So yeah, this is what I do. I kind of go back and forth in the photo because I'm a little psychotic when it comes to details like this. My friends always tell me too, like, why are you working at like 900%? Nobody is gonna see that. But the problem is I see it and it bothers me. So I know that most people, to their eyes, like, they might not really notice specific details, so you could get away with, having things look a certain way. But for me, like, I just don't like it, because when I go back and look at their photo, I see that. So I don't want it. I don't want that. I'm a little bit obsessed when it comes to little details like that. So I think we've got it pretty perfect here. So pretty much what I'm doing is I just press a little check mark. I don't want to apply it yet, because again, the cutout is going to stick to the canvas. They're not going to be able to add any effects. So what I'm going to do, I actually went back and used the eraser again to remove that little line. You see what I mean when I say I'm psychotic? When it comes to small details like that, like things that nobody will notice, like I notice, and it bothers me sometimes. So now what I'm doing is I press a little check mark because I don't want to apply it. Again, if I apply it, it's going to stick to the canvas and I'm not going to be able to add any effects the way I want to add them. So now what we're doing is we're going into the effects and we're going to make it look like a cartoon, essentially. So yeah, I don't know like what I'm really talking about here, to be honest. Like, I sometimes ramble, but yeah, what I'm doing is going into effects and using those to pretty much create the cartoon now. I do have a lot in recent. I do create a lot of cartoons, but just to show you guys again, just in case it's your first video watching, if you want to create a cartoon, you have to go under magic, and as you can see, there's plenty of options like Flora, Pastel, and Dead. I don't use Dead because it makes it look more like a sketch. It's not really the type of cartoon that I'm looking for. So I use Flora. As you can see, this is very colorful. So what I do is I press the 3 little dots on the right side to kind of remove all that color for now. And then I play with the lighting. So if I want it to be, if I want the effect to be darker or lighter, at this point I do. If I want to fade it out, sometimes I do that. But I just left it as it is right now, just for this purpose. I'm going into Badlands right now, and Badlands is going to create like a weird comic book type of color. So Badlands is the one I usually like to fade out, and yeah. So this is what I'm doing. As you can see, she's red. This is also not the type of cartoon we want to create, so I just removed, I just pressed the 3 little dots, to kind of neutralize the filter, and now I'm just playing with the lighting. And we can darken or we can lighten. I think I went with a dark one, and then I just faded out the color a little bit so it doesn't look as harsh, because if you leave it to where it is, it creates these harsh lines, which it will anyway. But like, I don't know, I'm just weird. I have a specific process for things, I guess, but you at any point in time, hey, don't let me tell you how to do things. This is just the way I do it. Other editors have different ways of doing it too. For me, by the way, a lot of people always tell me like, oh, so you pretty much just use filter factory settings, and it's like, yeah, but it's still hard to use, right? Because you have to pay attention to the details and things like that too, and it's you creating it at the end of the day. So now what I did after adding Badlands, sorry I talk so much, I went back into my recent, actually I went under effects. So I used HDR because I want to like really get the details in her face. I don't want them to not be seen through the cartoon filters. So I used HDR. I usually do that to make the details stronger and more sharp, make the photo more sharp, that is, sorry. This one is going to definitely create lines on her face. So what I do after is going to beautify and kind of smooth everything out. Now, as you can see with Badlands, Flora, and HDR, it created some black lines around her. So what I do is I go in and I actually remove those because I don't want them to be in the photo. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just removing everything. And yeah, just removing all the black lines around her hair, because again, it looks weird, you know, like, I mean, you could leave it if you want, but I don't know, I just don't like to have it look like that, unless somebody has like black hair or something. But like, I don't know, it still looks weird on a white background, like you can still tell. So I like to remove it. Not all of them you can remove, but you can definitely make it look a little bit less apparent. And I accidentally just erased her entire face. So what I'm doing is I'm selecting the brush and I'm going back and painting it back in again. And then actually using the eraser to erase more of the black line around her head. Sometimes what happens is the system lags, so you end up doing something completely like that, like I just did right there. It's okay, don't freak out. Just don't apply or press a check mark or anything, because you know it's bound to get you in trouble and you have to restart everything. So what I do is I actually like round up any corners or whatever. As you can see, I kind of rounded up her chest area because when we do the drip filter, it's just gonna look better. Depending what I want to do, also, like if I want to do more like one of those outline drawings, I will shape it more to what I am trying to achieve, right? So it all depends. But yeah, honestly, like my pet peeve is when people send me cutout photos on like it's the worst thing ever, because it's so much work. Like literally you have to create whole body parts that are missing from the photo. It's like, damn, like people nowadays, they take weird angled photos. Anyway, enough of that. So what I'm doing now is I'm going back into effects, and I decided to add Flora one more time. So that's gonna add even more lines to our face, but again, it's okay because we're gonna fix it. The thing about this time though is I didn't leave the filter as it is. I actually went in and of course pressed the 3 little dots to neutralize the filter and remove that super colorful look. And then I actually used the lighten effect. So now we have our cartoon. So now we're getting close to actually getting the final product, but not there yet. So what I'm doing now is I go under beautify. Obviously we want to smooth out our face. I told you guys we have some lines in our face that I really wanted to remove, so I wanted to beautify it, and I went into face fix. And when I zoom in, you can see her face. She has these like crosses all over her face, and that's a no-no. So I go in and I remove those, and I'm smoothing those lines out right now. But as you can see, they're not gonna be removed 100%. So what I do after is I usually just go in and smooth, or go into blemish and then just remove the lines like that individually. As you can see, we're pretty smooth right now, so I usually just sometimes I play with the scroll thing. Like I use the fix face thing more than it's set to. Like it was set to 30. I usually go to like 50 sometimes, depends. So now what I'm doing is like I said, I go into blemish fix and I remove the lines individually that we see, like the weird ones we don't want there. So unfortunately, I mean, you can make the brush bigger to make it easier, but the thing is, it's going to catch some parts and it's going to create these black dots all over the face, and that's not a pretty look. So I just leave it to the size that it is, and I just go into small areas where I see weird lines, and I remove them manually. Now I'm going back into fix because it did create some lines around her cheek, or some spots around her cheek, as you can see. So I go in and smooth those back out. And the problem with us doing this 2 times is, as you can see, a lot of areas of her face are nice and smooth, but we're losing some of her features. So what I do is I go into the eraser and I remove the softness from the eyes, things like the eyes, the eyebrows, and a tiny bit of the mouth, because I want them to appear again. I don't want to look like her mouth lines or eyes disappeared. So yeah, I just go in and I erase the softness, and then I go into details and make those areas pop out more if they're not already. Like, again, like I said, eyebrows, eyes, and parts of the mouth and nostrils, and the little bone. So now we're good. And yeah, I think we're good. I'm just playing around with the setting. And then I go into smooth and I fix that. Oh, actually, I went into skin tone first. So skin tone, it actually is going to change the color of the cartoon, but that's not what I use it for. Unless I lose somebody's skin color in the process of trying to make the cartoon, which happens a lot. I don't really use it for that purpose. Usually what I do is I erase whatever color it gives me completely, and then I go into the brush, and at the color wheel I select white, like the canvas, and then I go in and I'll highlight areas where the light is supposed to fall, because this makes it look more 3D. And you guys will see what I mean. As you can see, it looks like she's wearing highlight now. Bam. And her nose, we can actually see the highlight, so I just accentuate that more. Okay, and then we see some highlight on her cupid's bow, like just, on the lip area, and then on the bottom lip as well. So I think we're good as far as that goes. She looks poppin'. She's glowing. And we can also change her hair color, although I don't know if I want to. And I'm just checking to see what else I would want to do. But I think we're pretty much done. I think at this point, this is a voiceover, by the way, so I think at this point I was deciding if I wanted to, I'm smoothing it out, but I think I was deciding whether I wanted to change the hair color as well or not. I decided to smooth the face a little bit more and make her look softer. So that's what I'm doing right now. The problem is when you select this feature is it softens literally everything. So depending on what you want to look softer, just erase everything. That's fine. Use the eraser to erase everything, and then use the brush to specifically soften the areas that you want to, or smooth the areas that you want to. So this is what I'm doing right now. And I smoothed her hair, her skin a little bit more, and even her shirt a little bit, actually, because there's some lines on it as well. And now I'm going into hair color, and I actually chose the blonde one. And what I usually do with this, again, sometimes when I'm doing this, like, people's hair color will go gray. So what I do is I go in and I change the hair color back to what it was. And to do that, I play with the saturation. So if we want blonde hair, not peachy hair, you have to lower the saturation. So that's what I'm doing. Sometimes I do also lower the amount because I want it to look blended. I don't want it to look weird, like one area is one color and then one area is a different color. So I'm playing with the saturation here, and as you can see, if I didn't move it, the hair would look peachy. But instead, if we remove the saturation, it's blonde. And then I went to white to see if it would change anything, and it kind of looks weird, so I decided to go back to the color that we had before and make sure it had the settings that I set before. And I think we're good, to be honest with you. Like, her hair looks great. honestly, I love Kylie's new hair. She looks like she's got that e-girl aesthetic right now. So now that we're done everything, and I believe this was it for the beautify feature, we are getting closer to getting the effect that we want. So now I'm actually going to recent. I actually did have this under recent already in my stickers because I used it before when I was filming, and then that didn't work, so I had to refilm this, so it was there. So bottom line is I had it already. So I'm using this glitter drip effect, and as you can see, the bottom part is already white, so it's going to blend into our canvas, so it looks like you've just outlined it, which is pretty cool. So what I am gonna do now, because what you can see is we have two little weird lines, is I'm going into draw, and I'm gonna select the white color from draw, and what I do is with the paintbrush I just go in and I remove whatever lines are not supposed to be there, like this one here. And when I tell you guys there's certain details that I see that other people won't notice, I'm telling you, there's details I see that other people won't notice, and it's going to bother me if I don't do something about it. So I just fixed that, and then I'm gonna go do the same on the other side, and I just ruined it again. So I go back. This is what I do. I go back and forth because I fix it and then I ruin it and then I fix it again, and it's like a whole cycle until it looks the way I want it to. So then I'm going back to my brush, and I'm actually gonna add back all the pieces that I accidentally erased. I don't want her to look disproportionate, so I'm fixing her. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm gonna go do the same to the other side. I want it to look even, so I'm removing that line, and I accidentally drew over her again, but you know, it's okay. This is what sometimes happens. You just click that little back arrow, undo arrow, and move on with your life. Remember, don't undo too much because you will go all the way back to some of the other steps you already spent a lot of time on. You don't want to do that. So now that we've erased that, I'm zooming into the little part on her arm to do the same thing I did on the other side, like make it even and remove any extra parts that I don't want. And as you can see, there's a part sticking out. This side was actually easier to do, like it wasn't as hard. Now it looks better, and then I just remove that whole black line or gray line because it looks kind of weird. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing here, and I think we're good. And now I can actually select apply, and I think I actually selected it like 10 times here, and I think my app froze because it wasn't working right away. So I was literally just waiting for my effect to apply, and this is sometimes like gives me a heart attack because I think it wasn't saved, and then what happens is I guess the app is overworked or something, and it closes down completely, and the project is not always saved, which means you have to start from the beginning, and it's like a whole thing, and it makes me mad sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, because you do all this work and it looks amazing, and then all of a sudden you're just like, shit, now I have to start all over again. But yeah, I'm still waiting for it to apply apparently. So yeah, there we go, finally did. And so now what we can do is I like to go back into stickers and see what else we can add. I like to add those swirly things that you see on beauty gurus sometimes. So I was just playing with another drip effect here. I like to use those little swirl things that you see on beauty gurus sometimes, like if you know the James Charles drawing with a little swirly thing. I like to use those around sometimes. So that's what I was looking for here. But I was just showing all the options for stickers. There's a lot of stickers you could use. You could use a lot of them as masks as well, which is really cool. Now we're looking for swirls, and a lot of the good ones are also you have to pay for, But there's like a lot of other options too that are free. So just, if you see something you like that's like a premium sticker, like, look more, because there's other stickers too that other people use that are free. So don't get discouraged. There's plenty of others that you can use, as you can see. So I decided on that one, and then I'm making it larger. And I want to make it even too, because I want it to look like it's going around her body. So obviously it's over her eyes. We can't see her eyes anymore. So what I'm doing is I'm removing it from her face and her mouth. And we can leave the swirl the way it is on the rest of the body. So I go in and I fix part of it, and then I remove one part of it by her head because it's kind of over her hair, so it looks weird. And then I think that's it. And next I just applied it, and after that I pretty much went back to sticker, and I was looking for a crown this time. So I was looking for a crown this time, or tiara. Sometimes I look at crown, sometimes tiara. So sometimes I use the crystal ones, but for this one I don't really want to use one of those. I want to use like a cutesy, like halo looking one. So I tried the purple one there, and I didn't really like it, even though it kind of fits the theme. Like, it looks like the swirls, so it looks really nice. I don't really like it, so I didn't use that one. So as soon as I tried it on, I was like, no, I don't really want to use that. And you guys will see, I'm just trying to adjust right now around her head to see how it looks. But yeah, I wasn't really with that. And I saw the Sailor Moon one, and it was tempting, but like, this is not a Sailor Moon theme, so it wouldn't have made sense. So I used a black one with the black hearts. I like the look of that one, so this is the one I actually used, and I'm adjusting it to her head size as well. And then what I do is I press the eraser. After adjusting, I press the eraser to remove the parts that are like over her head. Obviously, you want to make it look like it's going behind her. It's in front of her head, and then it's going like around it. So I erase parts that look like they're over her hair or whatever. Okay, and then we press apply, and we're good. So next, what I usually do is I go on I go on save, and then I'm going to animate it. So I'm going to motion portrait. This is my like go-to app. There's so many other ones you can use. You can use Mug Life, but Mug Life you have to pay for, so I don't really use that one. I use motion portrait. Although on this one you can't really like make them wink, like the wink effect. You can't really do that. So if you want to make them wink, this is not the app to do. So I'm still trying to find another app that you don't have to pay for that does that, but it's not easy nowadays. Everybody's trying to profit off of these things. So when I do find it, I will let you guys know. But for now, motion portrait is free, and lets you animate your characters. So yeah. And then I like to adjust the eyes. So I'm pressing the little arrows to make her eye look smaller, and then we want to make it look smaller inward, and just keep going back and forth until it's the same size as her eye. Then place it over her eye. I mean, honestly, you can leave it big too, but it's going to cover a larger area and make the entire area look like it's blinking, including the eyebrows, which, I mean, I don't know if you want to do that. That's okay, I guess. But, yeah, I don't like to leave it. I usually like to adjust it to the size of their eyes. And then we can rotate it inward or outward. So that's what I'm doing here, or that's what I'm gonna do here. Guys, I don't know what happened, but I have to start a new voiceover. So what I'm doing now is I'm just adjusting her eye pretty much. So I'm rotating one of the eyes inward a little bit more to fit her eye shape. And then I'm just going back and forth to make sure like I have her eye shape correctly. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other eye, make sure that I have the correct eye shape, although that one's fine. So now we press OK, everything is adjusted, and then it should animate for us. So yeah, that's it. That's how you make her blink. Now there's different emotions you can use. You can leave it neutral, or you can make them smile, make them sad, angry. And then I'm just showing you guys like how the other emotions look. As you can see, the smile, and how she's sad, and now she's angry. And the angry one is funny. So that's it. That was our video. I created a video for us. So now I just click share and save video. And then we should have it in our photo gallery. So that's it. That's what I usually do in order to create an animation. If you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.